kind of show off some of the weapons that I use to make it a really tight farm. I start off with the Orion sniper. It's got oh yeah, I forgot. It's not going to be paused. I'll do that after I take out this mob here. The Orion sniper does an insane amount of shock damage, which is excellent for the Guardians because the majority of their sustain is their shield, and it can dispatch even the biggest guys fairly quickly. Particularly, this sniper has an insane fire rate. So this is the Orion. It's not the easiest weapon to find, but I would definitely recommend farming for it. Or if you're going to farm endgame weapons anyway, absolutely keep your eyes out for this. It doesn't have to be a really high affix version of it, but just get one and then you can upgrade later. This one has a high magazine, which is nice. The fire rate is excellent, and the damage is around 1,000. It is the one weapon that I use for this run that's scoped, and so it's fairly essential for taking out the Sarah Guardians. The next weapon is the what's it called? The Vengeance. The Vengeance pistol. It's a high fire rate pistol. It's a legendary, and it has a high chance to ignore shields, which once again is absolutely amazing for these enemies because the majority of their sustain is their shield. So if you can completely bypass it and just chip away at their HP, they will go down really quickly. As a pistol, it's nothing really special. The reason it's so effective here is because it ignores the shields. For the most part, you will notice a few shots will tick off of their shield, but by far it's their HP that it goes for. This one isn't scoped. If I found it scoped, it might be. I don't even know if it does come with a scope, but if it does, it might be worthwhile to try against the Sarah Guardians, the flying units that are those guys that are out of the way. That are not the easiest to hit with a non-scoped weapon. You can't really iron sight them unless I've noticed with the Orion sniper rifle. It isn't terrible at taking them out, even no scope. I imagine it's mostly because of the high shock damage, and that does an area of effect, or rather the shock damages them in a radius. But absolutely, this weapon is amazing for taking out the harder to hit units. Let's get rid of these guys. Oh. Usually it's a one shot, but sometimes it takes two. The final weapon. Oh. I'll just quickly take this guy out. Okay. Seriously? These guys can get really annoying. Get wrecked. Final weapon is the Iridian Thunderstorm. It's an Iridian shotgun that does shock damage, and there's a little bit of damage over time too, which is nice, particularly given how strong the weapon is. It has infinite ammo, but the problem is that there's only a certain amount of shots per full charge of the weapon, and so even though it might have been the ideal weapon for taking out every enemy minus the Sarah Guardians, the problem is that you will run out of energy and have to wait for a recharge. The way to circumvent that somewhat is to carry more than one at a time. The ideal is carrying 2 to 3. I'm just going to heal up a bit. And you can find the Iridian shotguns with between 2 to 5 shots per charge. And so when I'm farming them, I grab every one that I can and keep the ones that are 4 or 5 shot. And the goal is to be carrying 3 at a time, so that if you deplete the charge in the first one, you can swap to the second, deplete that charge, swap to the third, deplete that charge, and then go back to the first one, which will have recharged by that point. And in that way, you have infinite Iridian shotgun damage output, which is absolutely amazing, because this gun, particularly if you hit close and aim properly, you can take out most enemies in 1 to 2 shots. It's a phenomenal weapon, and it's amazing for going through the game as well, taking out enemies in the main story. I love this weapon. Absolutely, it's wonderful. But that's essentially the 3 weapons that I use. The Iridian shotgun is the easiest of the 3. Seriously? It's hitting his shields. How about... whatever. I'll just switch those for now. The Iridian shotgun is the easiest to find of the 3. Oh, gotta take this guy out before he drops me. I think that about does it. Yeah, okay. The Iridian shotgun, or the Iridian thunderstorm, is the easiest to get of the 3. I think that the Orion is the second easiest, or the second most difficult of the 3 to find. And I encountered, I think, only a couple throughout my farming. But keep your eyes out for this. And then the hardest one to find, just based on the drop chance that I found, is the Vengeance. Go for these, and keep your eye out for the Orion and the Vengeance pistol. Beyond using those 3 weapons, I also want to talk about some other benefits of this run, or at least how to ideally implement it. To start, the run here, from start to finish in the Iridian Promontory, if you're going about it effectively, is about a 10-minute run. And you can get a level 1 character up to, I think, around level 20 or 30 from the first run. And then I think the second run will put you up like 5 or 10 levels, and so there's diminishing returns, but that's strictly due to the high experience requirements for gaining those higher levels. You also want to pay attention to what guns you're using, because you can... Where am I getting attacked from? There. A-hole. Because you can level up your weapon proficiencies on this run. It seems to be by far the best way to gain proficiencies as well. So paying attention to that will not only help you farm up levels, but also get your proficiencies up too. So if you find that your proficiencies... Okay, so my pistol just went up to 49, which actually is funny because I'm using a sniper. Whatever. So my pistol's 50. Oh, no, sorry, that was my secondary character, right? Because they're holding a pistol. That's why. Makes sense. Oh, come on. Okay. So my pistol's 50, SMG is 50. I've been using SMGs for most of the game. That's why that's there. Shotgun, barely any. Assault rifle, barely any. Sniper up to 50. Launcher at 4, which is barely any. And Iridian proficiency is near max. I've been using the pistol, the sniper, and the Iridian weapons for the Iridian Promontory farms. And so that accounts for the majority of why they're they're either maxed or nearly maxed. The SMG I used for most of the game, and also I started off Iridian Promontory farming with the SMG, so that's why that's so high. Once I get to max Iridian proficiency, I should start thinking about switching to shotgun, assault rifle, and launcher proficiencies so that I can get those maxed, because there's no better way to max out your proficiencies outside of this run. Outside of proficiencies, you can also make this run a little bit more effective by paying attention to the non-weapon equipment that you have. So grenades aren't really going to benefit you too much. They may a little bit. For my shield, I'm sticking with my 60% health boost, which I like. I mean, it could be better, but whatever. And I'm using a Tempest class mod that increases my electrocute damage, which is great for the two weapons, the Orion and the Iridian shotgun, because both of those do electrocute damage. If you're not using an Orion, and you might want something a bit more effective, if you're the Siren, you can switch to something that increases just base SMG damage. It is ideal for you to use a shock weapon, whether it's SMG or shotgun, assault rifle, whatever, just because again, the majority of the sustain for these guys is their shield. So if you can increase electrocute damage somehow, great. And short of that, increasing. Oh wait, it's 2 players, so I can't just pause it. I keep on forgetting. Let's take this guy out. So, increasing damage of your character's main weapon. It's the SMG for the Siren. It's the sniper or pistol for the hunter, etc., etc. That'll help you quite a bit. I could also swap out to cooldown reduction if I wanted to make more use of my phase walk, even though it isn't really essential for me. Or if you farm Cromerax a bit and you ended up with some of the Allegiance class mods that increase base weapon damage for one of the makes. In this case, this one's the doll. You could also make use of that, particularly if you're using more than one weapon of the same make. If you're just stuck with a Pestilent Defiler, that's a great weapon throughout the entire game as well. You can also up your corrode damage with a class mod. Or sniper rifle, that would also work well with the Orion, or if you're just using a basic sniper rifle otherwise. But paying attention to your non-weapon equipment will help the run go more smoothly as well as of course your skill tree. I'm unfortunately not using a great skill tree. I'm still using the Cromerax skill tree that increases my sustain a bit. I guess I forgot about it and I was too lazy to swap it out. But yeah, that could make me a little bit more effective, but not too much. I'm still doing fine just with these 3 weapons here. So yeah, as a final note, keep an eye out for those 3 weapons. Absolutely, the Thunderstorm is essential for this run, or if not essential, very effective. Same with the Orion, and then finally the Vengeance. Between those 3, you can take these guys out very quickly and knock this run down to a 10-minute run, and you can farm up a Smurf to max level in several hours, which is just an insane leveling run for this game.